No questions.
Okay.
That's it. Great. Thank you, guys.
I guess I'll start us off then. Coach, just a simple one. What are you expecting from the Pumas? There's also this very important match against Australia and New Zealand in the morning. If they win Australia, then you guys have got a chance. Is that also coming into the discussion?
We actually didn't touch on what's happening on the other side, because of it's not in our control. Our main focus, most especially in the past 2 weeks, was just us getting better in what we do. And Argentina, they are in good space. They had a good win against Australia away from home. So, and we know they're a very tough side and a very physical side. So we had to make sure that we give them respect and prepare very well for them. And I think that's what it was. But we really didn't focus much on what's happening on the other side. Unfortunately, it's not in our hands. Yeah, but yeah, hopefully tomorrow we can just rectify the things that we did wrong against All Blacks in Auckland. And yeah, and then once again, you've mentioned it's a very, very special game for us, more especially playing at home for the last time this year, going to the World Cup. So hopefully we can give our South African followers and supporters a great farewell. And the vibe around Joburg at the moment, there's a good vibe, for the game. But yeah, we'll just make sure that we do everything in our powers to keep them proud.
Without giving away the keys to the castle now, Ellis Park, I was there this morning, it's looking beautiful and can play a very fast game if you so choose. But is it rather a case of preparing now for what you want, the game plan you want to play at the World Cup, or is there still experimentation? Maybe playing a running game. What is the tactics?
I wouldn't put it as experimenting. We've always open about how we want to play the game. We always want to evolve in our game and how we do things. And if you look at the game against Australia, the first game, that the way we played, I think that was close to where we want to go to in the sense of playing a good balanced game where you dominate on the set pieces with a good kicking game. But once again, when there's opportunities like you saw with those outside backs like Kedley Arendse scoring a hat-trick, so we always empower our guys to, when it's on for them, to take the space outright to go for it, which is, I think that is something we were guilty against New Zealand. I don't think we really, in our set pieces and our kicking game, didn't really function well. So yeah, I think, yes, we still want to get better, but once again, I think if we can do our big rocks, which is the set pieces and the kicking game with the good defensive systems in place, it will give us opportunities to play the way we want to play when it comes to giving our outside backs opportunities to also score tries.
Duane, sorry, just following up on that. I know you guys hate to look too far ahead, and obviously it's a World Cup year, but it being the last game at home, how difficult is it not to start thinking ahead to the World Cup and thinking ahead of what you're going to do there and all the sort of excitement around that?
Well, I got to say, our team has not been named yet for the World Cup or the squad. So for every single player, it's still it's still open to cement yourself into that 33-man squad. So I think if you get an opportunity, you have to use it, because the coaches told us, listen, if you if you don't take your opportunities, you're not going to get selected. So I think the big thing for us is, obviously, yes, it's a team sport. You can't play an individual game, but you also need to work on that individual performance, and hopefully all the individual performances together gives you that perfect game and the perfect game plan and the way we want to play and what we want to achieve. So obviously, like you said, we can't look too far ahead. So obviously the big challenge is tomorrow against Argentina, and that's what we need to focus on now.
Lucy?
Good afternoon, Jim. I wanted to ask you, your colleague Marvin already refers to Ellis Park as almost like a home for Springbok rugby. Would you regard Ellis Park as a fortress, a place that you guys would want to cement your position? The reality is, while I'm asking this question, I'm just reminded that last match you lost here at Ellis Park. Is this a fortress? Would you guys want to end of this year at home on a high note?
Well, we'll definitely want to end on a high. First of all, I think I think Marvin played for the Lions as well, so he loves Ellis Park. I like every stadium in South Africa. The big thing is not just the stadium. Obviously, it probably gives you memories of '95 and where everything all started in South African rugby. But I think for me, playing in South Africa and you have the support and you see all the people out there supporting you. That's the big thing. It doesn't matter where you play. There'll be people in the stands. There'll be people at home and can't get to the game, but they still support you. So for me, playing home is like a fortress, as I could certainly say. But I think the big thing is just possibly just because it is where rugby started for South Africa. But yeah, it's a good pitch to play. It's a fantastic stadium, and we Springboks had a lot of success here. Obviously, you said our last game here we lost against New Zealand, but obviously, we want to end on a high before we hit the road to World Cup.
Mzwandile, Duane's touched on it, the importance of focusing on tomorrow and getting a win tomorrow. For you guys as coaches, though, I mean, heaven forbid the result doesn't go your way. How much of a spanner in the planning would that put? So, I mean, how much of a disaster would it be if you don't get the result?
Listen, not performing and getting results, it always dents you as a team, even us as coaching staff, and what happened in New Zealand, again, I'm also going to talk about it, what happened in New Zealand also, it really dented us, and we were disappointed with that performance because we know the amount of work that we have done as a team, between us and the players, and the results tomorrow, yes, every time when we represent our country and as a Springbok, it's always important, irrespective of you playing at home or you playing away from home. But once again, for the sake of confidence and having confidence going towards the World Cup, I think the results will be important, and the performance of the players, like Duane said now, when it comes to individuals, we don't have that final squad of 33 players at the moment, so. And if you look also from the past two games, majority of the players that are playing tomorrow is probably the players that are in form. If I look at the outside backs and I look at the loose trio that we selected, it's the same loose trio that played against Australia and Pretoria. And we felt like as coaching staff, they really performed in that game. Even off the bench when they played against New Zealand, they really brought some impact. So once again, we don't have the final product at the moment for our World Cup squad, but I think we're getting closer there now. So a good performance, it will actually give us good answers to be able to finalize the squad when we come back in South Africa.
Coach Stocker, going into obviously the New Zealand game, there was the split squads and everything, and Australia was the first game of the season. So do you feel like the squad currently is probably the best, or they're the best prepared now? Almost everyone has got game time, everyone has had a run, and as you said, it's almost sort of the informed players playing this weekend. So do you think that this is pretty much the best prepared squad you guys have had so far this season?
I'll probably say we're probably 80-85% close to where we want to be, because there's still some guys that haven't got an opportunity. And even in the first game, for example, a guy like Andre Staesen and Jean Klein, guys that really performed in that game, but they haven't got another second opportunity. So I think in the next two games, probably some of the guys will kick the door down to be in that squad. And I wouldn't say we've got a final product, but you're 100% right. I think we're going towards the right direction regarding the players that are on form. So if you look, for example, in our centers, you've got a guy like Jesse Klook who's also getting his first opportunity. So we wouldn't say now Jesse is on form, but he also deserves an opportunity. A couple of guys that also probably I think will need another second chance, and probably in the next two games we'll probably target to give everyone a fair opportunity, so that by the time we select the final squad, at least as a coaching staff, we've done the right thing to give everyone a fair chance.
Fine.
Coach, was it a nice development having your regular captain participate a bit at a captain's run, just given, his, his path back to fitness? Was that sort of like a nice development for you as team management and the guys in general this morning?
You know what? The thing is, with Sia's rehab and the way he's getting back into swing of things, I'm getting surprised every time I see him, the things that he does at the moment and the way he runs and the conditioning that he does. It keeps on surprising me every day. And to be honest with you, is that we trust all the guys that we've got in our team. Duane has been around as a leader. Yeben has been around as a leader. We've got guys like Lucanio Arms, But once again, Sia is one of those massive guys in our team regarding his leadership skills. And if we can have him back for the World Cup, it will be a bonus. It will be nice for us as a team because of, once again, we're not only focusing on just what we can achieve today. This is something that we've been building since 2018 when Razi came back, and we knew that we have got this strong group of leaders, and they've got their own way of doing things on the field, and they've got understanding on each other. So if we can have Sia back on the field, it will be a bonus. It will be nice. But once again, from my side, it's good to see him running. It's good to see even a guy like Hambe Pollard who hasn't been doing any runnings. I saw him also today. So Oaks was also running a bit there. So if we, as a coaching staff, if we can get those players back, geez, it will be a bonus. But once again, hopefully everything will go well for them also and get a chance to come back into the squad.
Ross?
Duane, you mentioned that South Africa as a whole for you is sort of like a stronghold. Do you think that this will be your last game in South Africa? And is that a bit, with the Springboks, and does that bring a bit of emotion to this game for you?
Probably. No, I think we handled that subject within the squad. Rassi, and we were talking about obviously our coach, some of our coaches also could also possibly be their last game in South Africa, and then obviously we mentioned my game, and might be possibly the last one in South Africa. So obviously it's just fantastic to get an opportunity, and I'm relishing it. I'm really looking forward to it. So put so much into this game for 19 years, and you think, it'll never come to an end. But obviously, you know when to draw the line and say, listen, there's some guys that's really stepping up, and obviously there's a family back home that that you've missed out on all these years. So it's a bit of an emotional thing, but still looking forward to it, and obviously the emotion will be there, but it obviously won't overtake the control and the focus on the game that we have tomorrow.
Don't announce the retirement now.
No, I'm not announcing it. If I announce it now, then I know I'm done.
Coach, maybe just a word on that new halfback pairing with Manny and Grant, and what you guys are expecting from them tomorrow.
Yeah, I think two players with a bit of an X factor, and if you look around them, I think the secret is not in the two of them. The secret is what's around them. Having a loose trio like having Duane, who's been around, Peter Steff, who's been around, Marco van Staden, who's very physical and playing very good rugby at the moment, and having a guy like Damian Derlinde, who's one of the most experienced guys outside them. I think that's going to be the key thing for them because of the foundation the forwards will give them. It will allow them to excel and bring the best in them. So I think that's going to be a key thing in that game. Because we know Grant Williams off the bench always brings some impact. But I think at the moment, you'll probably need to control the game more. And then later on, maybe when there's opportunities for him to do what he does best, then maybe he can do that. So that's going to be a challenge for them. Manili Bok, we know he's a very, very special player and probably one of the informed flyouts in South Africa for the past 2 seasons. And for him now to get that that trust from us as coaches, and we like support him 100%. And the way he's training, he's also at the moment he's standing up as a general in that position. So we hoping the forwards will give them good foundation, but no doubt at all that they deserve to be where they are at the moment because of the opportunities they got. I'm one of the strong believers of when someone takes the opportunity with both hands, you have to reward that person. So I think those two boys, they're on form at the moment, and hopefully they will be able to control the game also for 80 minutes.
Percy?
Duane, in the past, a journalist like myself, I cannot speak on behalf of my colleagues, would have written off Argentina and saying this should have been a walkover, just a walkover for you guys in a normal test match. But if you do that now, you do it at your own peril. You see what we've seen what Argentina did in Australia. You referring to South Africa as a fortress. Does that mean you guys can rest on the laurels tomorrow, getting to this test match?
Oh, definitely not. And also maybe not referring to the whole SA as a fortress. For me, that's my personal thing. I just enjoy playing in South Africa because it's where I grew up, and that is just something special for me. Obviously, we can definitely not, sit back on our laurels. I think they a physical side. They've shown that they can play. Probably the complete game. They've got a good attack. They've got strong forwards. They've got a massive work rate. We've looked at some of their games, and there's no guy on that team that will just stand back and give up. They work for what they want, and obviously it's going to be a physical matchup for us. So yeah, obviously not saying we can sit back and relax. We also want to perform, and we want to finish our last game in South Africa on a high, and and obviously play the complete game. So yeah, still a lot of work for us to do, and it's going to be a tough one.
I think it will be stupid, Percy, to write them off because of what they've done in the last game against Australia. And if you look also in the history of the past 2-3 years, like I always say, when it comes to the top 8 teams in the world rankings, on a day, if a team is not at their best, you can lose to anyone in those teams, And Argentina, they've proven many times they beat the All Blacks away from home. Now they beat Australia away from home. So you can never write them off, most especially where they are at the moment. They're in a good space. They just had a good win against Australia. And once again, like you saw with us, for 20 minutes where we're not in the game against the All Blacks, and then All Blacks, they've managed to put 17 points. So no doubt Argentina, they've also got a potential. If you're not at your best, they will punish you. You see, so I think the most important thing is that we have to give them respect. We have to give them respect because of Duane knows very well those guys that will play for 80 minutes. That is one thing I enjoy about Argentina, and you can see they play from the heart. That's why I always say they've got similar things to us, and with the experience that is in that team and some of the X factors also with their backs. So we'll have to be at our best to make sure that tomorrow we win the game.
Guys, we take another 1 or 2 English questions and then we need to go to Afrikaans and Xhosa.
Duane, Coach touched on it very briefly about the half period and the work that you guys are going to have to put in as a pack to give them the momentum to go forward. As captain as well, got to keep them motivated and focused. So just give us an indication how you're going to go about that, how the pack is going to, I don't want to say protect them, but how they're going to protect the inexperience, and also how you're going to keep them motivated as the captain.
I think our big thing is obviously we looked back on our game against the All Blacks in Auckland, and obviously Faf didn't get clear ball. It was a bit of a mess at the breakdown. So obviously we worked really hard on it, and all the forwards are pretty revved up for this game. We really want to give Grant a proper opportunity to showcase what he's got and what he can bring to the table and to the team. And we have to give him that ball on a platter so that he can show his skills, and obviously then distribute to Mane as well. So if we can give them a ball on the front foot, they can play their game and they can play their magic trick or their party trick. They can bring their party trick to the table. So there's a big thing on the forwards, and we just have to step up and make it special for them as well.
Guys, can we first go to Afrikaans and isiXhosa, and then we'll come back if there's time to English, please. I'm just worried about time. Percy?
Self maak jy maar praat 'n bietjie oor hy persoonlike ervarings môre was hopelik waarskynlik die laaste wedstryd op tuisbodem en julle hoop op 'n hoë noot af te sluit, maar julle opponente kom hier om partytjie te kom dit derfere mooi is.
Ja, goed, dis wel vir ons die groot ding is ons het laas naweek of teen die All Blacks nie 'n great vertoning gehad nie. Ek dink coach Stok het gesê daai eerste 20 minute was regtig nie goed nie en as jy vir Nieu-Seeland so groot voorsprong gee, is dit moeilik om terug te kom in 'n game. Maar hulle het die perfekte 20 minute se rugby gespeel en ons was glad nie ontsang nie. So die groot ding vir ons is net om weer terug te kom en te reset en ons 'n bietjie gaan werk aan die dinge wat wat nie goed verloop het vir ons nie. Bietjie meer fokus ingesit op daai spesifieke areas. En ons weet môre gaan 'n tawe game wees teen Argentyne. Hulle is op high, hulle het vir Australië gestamp, so ek dink hulle is baie positief, hulle kan ons ook hierso kom wen. So kyk van ons kant af, ons kan regmaak wat verkeerd gegaan het en hopelik kan ons hier wegstap met ons laaste game op tuisbodem met 'n goeie wen. Ek dink almal is ingestel daarvoor, almal se koppe is reg daarvoor en ek dink as mense om in Suid-Afrika so kan afsluit, gee dit die coaches ook 'n goeie geleentheid om te kan sien wat se manne hulle kan kies vir die wêreldbeker. So ek dink daai ouens is al daai span is al ingesement nie. Daar's nog 'n geleentheid vir die volgende 2 weke vir ouens om hulle hande op te steek. So ek dink dit gaan 'n ongelooflike span vertoning moet wees om vir ouens te laat wys hoor die manne is lus en die manne gaan saam staan en dit vir hulle 'n bietjie moeiliker maak om te besluit wat 'n manne moet saamgaan. Die emosie van die laaste wedstryd, nee, wat kyk ek is baie gelukkig om 'n geleentheid gegee te word om net te kan speel. So is dit nou die laaste in Suid-Afrika? Ja, heel moontlik. Ek sê nie ek retire nie, so ek sê dit nou weer. Maar ja, ek dink net die ding is as jy sê jy retire, dan sal 'n switch in jou kop wat afdraai en dan wil jy nie meer nie. So ek wil nog my alles gee en ek dink dit sal spesiaal wees en dit sal regtig seker maar 'n groot emosionele ding wees. Dit sal lekker wees vir my familie en almal is in die stand, so ek sien uit daarvoor, so dit gaan seker vir my seker maar taal wees. Maar dit na kant toe geskuif, ek dink ou met daai emosie gebruik tot 'n positiewe ding en jy weet die span gaan goed gaan lei en jy weet en die regte besluite maak en jy weet as jy die wedstryd wen en jy loop al weg en die ouens is gelukkig en ons het goed gespeel, dit is eintlik al waar dit gaan. Dan gaan hy emosie net nog meer oorborrel. So ek is in 'n bevoordeelde posisie.
Duane, jy het hom al voorheen 'n bietjie ervaar as 'n spanmaat op nasionale vlak, maar met die hele COVID ding het jy uiteindelik as bulle, jy weet, staatmaker saam met Marco, jy weet, aansienlik meer met hom te doen gehad, jy weet, en dinge. Net hoe ervaar jy hom as 'n spanmaat en 'n speler in die geheel? Ek seker jy is nie reg verras dat hy reg hard aan die deur nou klop nie. En dan die tweede deel van daai vraag, jy weet, geniet jy op die oomblik die dinamiek tussen jou en Pieter-Steph en hom as 'n lostrio?
Ja, kyk, ek het so 'n bietjie teen Marco gespeel op 'n tyd en toe soos nou spanmaats en toe kom ek agter hoor hierso 'n oefening, die man is nogals, hy's hard. Hy's 'n interessante mannetjie van die veld af, hy't lekker, jy kan lekker gesels met hom en so aan, so dis 'n lekker energieke man. Maar jessie, ek moet sê hy het my verbaas. Kyk, hy was so half in en uit in die mix by die bokke en nie regtig altyd 'n kans gehad en so aan. of dalk net 'n bietjie te min kans gekry op 'n tyd. Maar yes, ek dink daai eerste game teen Australië wat hy gespeel het, het hy fantasties gespeel en ek dink dis 'n man wat regtig hard aan die deur klop en in daai groep van 33 wil wees. So kyk, ou kan nie die ouens afskryf nie. So ek dink hy's 'n fenominale speler. Ek dink hy's hard op die afbreekpunte en hy dra regtig baie goed bal. So ek dink hy sluit lekker in ons lostreer wat jy nou ook gevra het, hoe werk ons saam. En Pieter Steff gaan vir jou kilometers opruim vir dae. Hy gaan nie ophou hardloop nie. So dit is een van die manne wat ons weet wat die hele tyd gaan hardloop. Marco is weer 'n ander ding en hy doen meer die fisiese kant en ek klim in ons. So ek dink die kombinasie werk lekker. Het lekker gewerk teen Australië en ek dink wat coach Stokke gesê het, hulle was gelukkig met hoe ons gespeel het en hulle gee ons weer geleentheid. So ek dink ons kan daai cohesion wat ons nou tans het net bietjie meer aansterk en hopelik vir hulle 'n bietjie meer moeilikheid gee om besluite te maak. So ja, ek dink dit gaan 'n lekker wedstryd wees vir ons nie.
Any isiXhosa and Afrikaans questions left? Because then we can take one more English question. Okay.
English.
isiXhosa.
Duane, you mentioned the breakdowns being a mess last weekend and you guys want to clean things up there. Is it fair to say, though, that Argentina probably want to make it a mess again? I mean, that's a lot of their game plan revolves around, I think, really, so we say, slowing down ball at the breakdown. How do you handle that when your opposition's got a very different sort of objective at the breakdowns than maybe you guys do?
We had a look at it, and obviously we worked really hard in the week because exactly what you mentioned. We know they make it a menace at the breakdown and then make it difficult and stuff like that. But the only way you can really change that picture is if you are dominant in your carries, and that was one thing that obviously that stood out against the All Blacks for us. We weren't dominant in our carries and in our collisions, and then everything becomes a mess. So now once you're a bit more dominant and you're on the front foot, it's easier for the cleaners to get in. It's easier to clear any debris around the breakdown. So we had a really good chat about it during the week, and obviously the guys worked hard on the field, and obviously we got sent out our clips and the guys discuss it and make plans so that we can give a Grant and a Faf and guys like that just really good clear ball and quick ball.
Ross, last question.
Thanks. Coach, obviously you guys have spoken a lot about how you can't underestimate Argentina. They don't ever go away and stuff like that. So how important is it, do you think, from your guys' side to have a sort of statement win this weekend and also maybe next weekend ahead of the squad announcement? Obviously a lot has also been said about how the Boks enjoy playing sort of as underdogs and we're not as much as expected of them. But do you think that over the next couple of games it's very important to get a couple of big statement wins, and maybe Duane can also step in on that? And is it important from the players' perspective to get a nice statement win this weekend?
I think first things first, the statement that we'll probably need in this game is the players themselves lifting their hands up, because of, like Duane said, we haven't actually selected our final squad of 33 players, so that will be the big statement for any player that performs at the moment. They give themselves a chance to be in that on the flight to France, and then secondly, as a team, I think the game tomorrow, it's got a lot of motivation behind it. Like Duane mentioned, it might be his last game in South Africa in a Springbok jersey, and for someone who has served, our country, like you said, a lot of time he was away from his family, so I think also as us, it will be fair for us as a team to make sure that if he decides not to continue, in the future, I think it will be a good thing for us as a team also to give him a good farewell, and then guy like Jacques, he's been around, Felix, 2019, and they've been massive, in our system, and the fact that it's also the last game at home before we go to France, I think it will be a good statement for us to get good results. And we know in South Africa, once again, I always say, there's a lot of negativity amongst what's happening in the country. Seeing, I think a week or 2 weeks ago, where there was explosion also underground, one of the main streets in Joburg. So now for a change, if we can give them a smile, the people of Joburg, I think that will probably be our focus. And once again, us as coaches, if we can just make sure that whatever we want to achieve to the World Cup, I think good results will put us in a nice space to make sure that we keep improving in our game. And we know sometimes it's not nice to keep on improving when you're losing, because as coaches, you're going to be under pressure. Players, they're going to be under pressure where they don't get selected. So I think it's always a good foundation when you're still developing your game while you're winning. And I think it will put us in a better space as a team going to the World Cup. But once again, the game tomorrow is massive. It's massive for our people in South Africa. We have to give them a proper farewell.